Sadness is strange because sometimes nothing actually happens. There is no argument, no bad news, no moment you can point to and say, that's why I feel like this. You just wake up one morning and everything feels slightly harder than it did yesterday. Getting out of bed takes longer. You leave messages unanswered even though you read them. You put music on, then turn it off because somehow even that feels like too much. Someone asks if you're okay, and you say, yeah, because explaining it would take more energy than pretending you're fine. I think that's the part people don't always understand. Sadness isn't always crying. Sometimes it's sitting with people you love and realizing you barely feel present. They're laughing, you're laughing too, but somewhere inside your head, you're somewhere else. Watching yourself take part in a life that doesn't quite feel like yours tonight. Then you go home, your room gets quiet, and everything you managed to ignore during the day suddenly has space again. You start thinking about people, old friends, people you used to talk to every day. Someone you thought would stay. Someone you still think about even though you know they probably don't think about you nearly as much. You remember little things, the stupid conversations, the messages that went on until morning. The way seeing somebody's name appear on your phone used to change your entire mood. There was probably no final moment, no dramatic goodbye. Life just kept moving. Replies became slower. Plans stopped happening. Eventually, you became people who used to know each other. And sometimes that hurts more than an argument would have. Because there's nobody to blame. There is nothing to fix. You just have memories of something that no longer exists. Then sadness starts pulling other things into the room. Things you thought you had already dealt with. That embarrassing thing you said years ago, the person you wish you treated differently, the opportunity you were too scared to take, the version of yourself you thought you would be by now. Suddenly your brain starts collecting evidence against you. Look at everyone else. Look how happy they seem. Look how many people they have. Look how much they're doing. Then you look at yourself, at your unfinished plans, your unread messages, your messy room, your tired face in the mirror. And for a few minutes, it becomes very easy to believe that everybody else learned how to live properly and you somehow missed the lesson. You open your phone, you scroll, someone is on holiday, someone got into a relationship, someone's out with friends. Someone seems completely certain about where their life is going. You know you're only seeing pieces of their lives. You know that. But knowing something doesn't always stop it from hurting, because when you already feel low, every happy person starts looking like proof that you're doing something wrong. So you put your phone down and pick it up 30 seconds later. You don't even know what you're looking for. Maybe a message, maybe someone asking where you've been, maybe some tiny sign that you crossed somebody's mind without having to remind them you exist. Sometimes that's what sadness really wants, to feel noticed. Not fixed, not given advice, just noticed. You want somebody to look at you for a second longer and realize that your "I'm tired" means more than being tired. You want them to ask twice, you want to tell somebody everything. Then the moment somebody gets close enough to ask, you suddenly don't know how. Because saying it out loud makes it real. Because you don't want to sound dramatic. Because other people have bigger problems. Because you don't even fully understand what you're feeling yourself. So you keep it small. I've just had a weird day. I didn't sleep much. I'm fine. And maybe nobody questions it. Then part of you feels relieved. Another part of you wishes they had. That contradiction can be exhausting. Wanting people close, then pulling away. Wanting to talk, then ignoring the message. Feeling lonely, then canceling plans because being around anyone feels impossible. Sometimes sadness makes you disappear in tiny ways. You stop sending things you think are funny. You stop taking pictures. You stop telling people little stories about your day. You don't notice it happening. Your world just slowly becomes quieter. And the scary part is how normal that quiet can start to feel. You adjust to it. You start expecting less. You tell yourself you don't care whether anybody checks on you. You convince yourself you prefer being alone. Maybe sometimes you genuinely do. But there is a difference between enjoying your own company and deciding you don't need anyone because needing people has disappointed you before. I think a lot of us learn that difference late. You become careful. You stop saying how much people mean to you. You stop admitting when you miss someone. You wait for other people to message first. You try to protect yourself from feeling unwanted. Then one night you realize you've built this distance around yourself and somehow you're still wondering why nobody feels close anymore. That realization hurts. Because sadness isn't always caused by one thing. Sometimes it's years of little things. People leaving, plans changing, confidence disappearing, questions about your future, things you never said, things people said that you pretend you forgot, all of it collecting quietly. Then one ordinary night, you feel the weight of everything at once. There might not be a lesson in that night. You might not wake up tomorrow feeling completely different. Some feelings don't disappear because you finally understood them. Sometimes understanding them just means you stop being confused by their presence. You realize you miss people. You realize you're tired. You realize something hurt you more than you admitted. You realize you've been trying so hard to look okay that you haven't given yourself much space to actually feel anything. And maybe tonight that is enough. You don't have to turn sadness into something meaningful immediately. You don't need some beautiful explanation for why you feel heavy. Sometimes you're simply sad, and you're allowed to admit that. You can miss someone who isn't coming back. You can feel lonely even when people love you. You can be grateful for your life and still struggle inside it. Those things can exist together. Maybe tomorrow you answer one message. Maybe you open the curtains. Maybe you tell somebody that you haven't really been yourself lately. Nothing dramatic, just something honest. Because sadness gets very good at convincing you to keep everything hidden. And sometimes the smallest way out of that silence is simply letting one person see you properly. Not the version that says, I'm fine. You,